Hi, welcome to Muzzle First. On the table here in front of us, I have my Ruger American pistol. This is model 8615, chambered in .45 ACP. So I've had this gun for about 2 months. I've put about 400 rounds through it, and I like it. I really like this gun a lot. So much so that I'm thinking about using this for my home defense gun. I'm thinking about using it for the gun that's going to be on my nightstand at night. And but before I can do that, I need to compare this gun to my current home defense gun. This guy. This is my Springfield XD, also chambered in .45 ACP. I've had this gun for about 4 years. I bought this gun with the intention of using it for a home defense gun, and that's what I've done with it, and it works great. About 1,400 rounds through this gun, no issues at all. It's been flawless. It just works. It's easy to hold on to. It's easy to keep on target. It's accurate. I shoot it decently, and I like it. So, all in all, this was a very good purchase. So, my question is, can I replace this gun with the Ruger? So let's go over some specifications on these two guns, and let's get a good idea what we're looking at here. Probably the biggest difference when you look at these guns, as far as visibly, is the length of the slide on that Ruger. Alright, let's see if I can line these guys up here. Alright, so that Ruger, that overall length, we're talking about the length of the slide. Manufacturer calls it an overall length, but it's just the length of the slide from the back to the front. On these guns is 8 inches for the Ruger. The Springfield is 7.3 inches, so there's 0.7 inches difference between these two. Part of it is the barrel. The Ruger barrel is 4 inches long. The Ruger barrel is 4.5 inches long. The Springfield barrel is 4 inches long. So there's a half-inch longer barrel in it, but it also has a little bit longer firing mechanism in the Ruger, and I'll show you that when we take it apart here. Internally they're a little different. As far as the height on the gun, the Springfield is 5 3/4 inches, 5.75 inches. The Ruger is 5.7 inches. So that's really not, that's close, 0.05 inches difference. So a little shorter on the Ruger, but you really don't notice it. You get a full grip on both of these. But I do notice on the Ruger, my pinky tends to rest on the magazine a little bit. On the Springfield it does not. So that probably has to do with a little bit to do with that length. Width on the guns, the Springfield is 1.22 inches. And the Ruger is 1.4 inches so wide. So both manufacturers measure the width on the frame, not on the slide, but they measure them on the frame. So you want to keep that in mind. So the frame on this Ruger is 0.12 inches, I think I calculated that wrong, 0.18 inches wider than the frame on the XD. And the frame on the Ruger is nice and rounded. They give you this back strap that makes that frame nice and round on that grip. So it feels good in your hand. XD feels good also, but it is flat. It's flat on both sides. And more narrow. Okay, keep pointing it out, but I'm going to show you why in a minute here. Barrel length 4 inches, 4.5 inches, we already covered that. Weight on these guns, 30 ounces, 31.5 ounces. Negligible. You really can't tell the weight on that Ruger, that extra 1.5 ounces. I really can't feel it. I can tell you that it feels a little bit more muzzle heavy than the Springfield does. You can kind of feel the little bit of weight out front there, and it's 0.7 inches longer, so you're going to have a little bit of extra weight out there on the front. The biggest difference in these two guns is the capacity. The Ruger has a 10-round magazine. Alright? That Springfield has a 13-round capacity. Magazines hold 13 rounds. So if you look at these magazines, you'll notice that the Springfield magazine is taller. It's just a little bit. It's not a startling difference. And keep in mind that the grip on the Springfield is also longer than the grip on the Ruger. Here's what's amazing on this. Here's what's kind of interesting. I don't know why they did this. Keep in mind the grip on the Ruger is fatter. Alright? If you line these magazines up, alright, that Springfield magazine is wider. Not a lot, but you can see that. I don't know if you can see that lip right there. I'm going to see if that comes through on video or not. Alright, so I got the other side here is lined up on these. See that lip right there? That Springfield magazine is wider. So Springfield has a magazine that is just 0.05 inches longer, I'm assuming. Just a little bit longer. But it's wider. So your rounds are stacked differently than they are in the Ruger. I kind of think Ruger made that magazine for 10 rounds. I don't think they made that magazine for the maximum capacity they could have put in it. I think they made that magazine for 10 rounds. That's just my own opinion. I have no proof of that. Ruger's never said that to my knowledge. I just think that's what they did. I think they made that magazine for 10 rounds. I think that's what they wanted the gun to hold. The Ruger does have Novak sights, so they both have a 3-dot sights. The sights work. Some people don't like 3-dot sights. I personally do like 3-dot sights. I don't have a problem at all with 3-dot sights. Like I said, the Ruger does have genuine Novak sights on it. The Springfield has something that I like. It has a very tactile indicator back here when the gun is cocked. It does not tell you that it's loaded. It just tells you that it's cocked. They both have a loaded chamber indicator on the top. The Springfield has a little pop-up here at the top, and the Ruger has a little hole that you peek through. You can actually see the brass shine through there. Personally, I like the hole better. I like the hole for the indicator better than the little pop-up at the top here. Just for the fact that pulling this out of a holster, I'd rather not have anything sticking up on the top if I don't have to. But while I'm saying that, I do realize it does not bump up any higher than the sights. So you already have your sights that are sticking up, and your front sight's going to be buried in the holster. So it's not that big of an issue, but my personal preference is to not have anything sticking up on top of the slide. It doesn't have to be. And the hole does work just fine inside the Ruger. Let's take these guys apart. Well, everything you got. They both have the Picatinny rail. The Ruger's is probably a little more of a standard Picatinny rail than the Springfield. They both work. Both work just fine. Let's take them apart real quick. Let's move this box out of the way. We'll do the Ruger first. Alright, so I'll show you it is empty. There's nothing in it. Drop the magazine. Alright, first thing we're going to do, lock the slide back. Rotate that takedown lever. Let the slide go forward. Slide it off of there. You notice I did not pull that trigger. Alright. Springfield. We'll do the same thing. Alright. I'm going to lock it back. We're going to rotate that takedown lever. Put the side forward. And it will not budge until you pull that trigger. Then it just slides apart. Alright. So that's difference number one. Difference number two, I'll show you in a Springfield because it's a little clearer to describe. When you're cleaning your gun on a Springfield, and before you can clean the little rails here on the frame, you have to put the takedown lever down. Alright? And then before you put it back together, you got to put it back up. The Ruger doesn't do that. You don't have to. The Ruger rotates down. Alright? So it's not in your way. You don't have to move it to clean it or lubricate it. Those are the two big differences as far as the takedown of the gun. There's another huge difference inside these guns. And you will notice, I'll show you the internals here. I'll line them up at the back so you can see how they're made and their differences. Here we got the Ruger on the left and the Springfield on the right. Alright, get a look inside those slides. One thing that's really cool about this Ruger, you can actually pull the takedown lever out, and there's a little lever here on the side that you push forward, and this entire firing mechanism lifts out of the gun, or out of the frame. That is pretty cool. My SIG's kind of like that. I have a SIG P250, and it's just like that. The whole internal part that is the gun, and I will show you that. That is the serial number. That serial number is on that internal chassis that lifts up out of the gun. Oh, I didn't have it focused in there, I'm sorry. Alright, so that entire serial numbered part will come up out of this frame. The cool thing about that is, it almost kind of makes you think that at some point in time, Ruger will release kits for these to convert these possibly to other calibers, or maybe give you a different length slide, different length of frame. So we'll have to wait and see on that, see what Ruger does with that. But there is a lot of possibilities for what they can do. I don't know what they will do, but we'll see what they can do a lot. Now that they've made that removable, the actual registered part of that gun is removable. All right, and that's huge because I mean technically they could come out with a compact version of this, and that same licensed gun right there, that insert, that center insert there, that part that's licensed that has your serial number on it, would go in there. The SIG's like that. My SIG will do that. All right. As far as the slide, really not a huge difference in the slide. Let's see how you best want to line these up. Let's line them up at the back of the barrel. All right. We'll line up the bottom of the barrel here. So you see that the Ruger is a little bit longer in here. And part of that is to facilitate what they did inside the slide. All right. Or inside the frame. So the slide is a little bit longer also. But other than that, there's really not a lot of differences between those two on the inside. Those three differences are what I really wanted to show you. Put these guys back together. Alright. They both go back together really easy. There's not a problem with either one of them taking them apart, putting them back together. Let's look at what comes with them when you buy them, alright? Alright, so for the Ruger, we get the box that you've seen sitting on the table when I first started the video. Inside the box, you get the lock, you get the gun, you get some paperwork, you get an additional back strap, which I've not used at all, and 2 magazines. And I believe that was it. Unless you want to count the baggie. A little tool here to change the back strap with. But that's all you get. Manual. I didn't mention the manual. There's a manual in there. Alright. With the Springfield. Now, while I'm showing you this, I want to also mention that packages may vary. So you may not get this whole package with every Springfield XD that you buy. Mine came with it. Alright. Alright, so you got the gun, you got an extra magazine, and you also got a holster. You got a holster for 2 magazines, and you got a loader. I will say this loader does not work with the Ruger magazines either. So it's not a universal loader. It's made for that Springfield magazine. But it's in there because I use a generic. I use an Uplula loader. That works with all my magazines. So you get the lock. I don't know if anybody ever uses those locks, but any manual and stuff. So that's what comes with them. So you get a little bit more with the Springfield, but you'll notice where my holster and my stuff is. It's in my case. I don't take this case to the range. This case sits in a cabinet on a shelf. So is it important that it comes with that stuff? That's up to you. For me, I'm not using it, so it didn't matter so much. The gun and the magazines are all I'm using out of it. So that's what I bought. That's what I bought to use. Let's look at a little piece of video. Alright, so this is a video from the range where I'm comparing these guns side by side as far as shooting them. So what I'm doing is I'm going to run a magazine through each gun. So on the left hand side here, this is my Springfield XD, and on the right hand side I'm going to shoot with the Ruger American pistol. Both are in 45, and I just want to see which one I shoot better, side by side. So keep in mind the Springfield does have a 13 round magazine and the Ruger has a 10 round magazine. I'm not going to download the Springfield. I'm just going to shoot a full magazine through each at each target. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to shoot a magazine on the left with the Springfield, a magazine on the right with the Ruger, and then I'm going to go back and do it again. And we're going to see which one performs best for me. The Ruger shoots well. It shoots good. It feels good in your hand. And it started off shooting good for me. You can see those first 3 rounds there grouped really good. And then I started going off to the left with it. That's why I think it's me. I don't think it's the gun. I think it's me. That's shooting out to the left like that. I think that gun is a lot more accurate than I am. or at least the way, a lot more accurate than I was at the range that day. 10 rounds through the Ruger, as you can see, obviously not as good as my first 13 rounds through the Springfield. All right, so as you can see from that range video, that was only one magazine. That was only one magazine through each one of these. As you can see, I clearly shot the XD better than I did the Springfield. So let's take a look at the targets. All right. This is my target from the Springfield, and that's 4 magazines. All right, I put 4 magazines through. That's through each one of the guns. So I guess the Springfield was what, 13 times 4, what, 52 rounds? Right there. I got a little wild. I finally just kind of started shooting a lot quicker because the way the test was going. Let's take a look at the Ruger. What I did with the Ruger. All right, so this is 4 magazines through the Ruger. All right. That would put a hurt on somebody, but that is not as good as I did with the Springfield. And then again, it's all to the left. It did cut out the paper pretty good, but it's all to the left and a little bit down. And I got a feeling that's me. I don't think that's necessarily the gun. I think that's me. I think I need more trigger time with the Ruger. So at the beginning of this video, I had a question, and the question was, can I replace my Springfield XD with the Ruger American pistol? And right now, the way it stands right now, I'm going to have to say no. This Springfield XD has always shot good for me. From the first day I shot it, it's shot the same. I've been able to put them in the center. And right now, I'm not ready to give it up for the Ruger. And it's really kind of hard to say that because I like this Ruger. I didn't buy this Ruger with the intention of replacing my XD with it. I bought it because I liked it. And I buy a lot of guns like that, but I bought it because I liked it. But I did have the idea of, I wonder if it would replace my XD, and right now I'm going to say no. This XD is still my go-to gun at home, and it'll be on my nightstand until such a time as I feel that the Ruger is better equipped for it. Now, in the future, who knows? After I put in there 1,000 rounds through this Ruger, I may shoot it better or as good as the XD. In which case I'll have to readdress it. So 6 months from now, we may have to come back and do this again and compare them side by side. Or Ruger may have another offering that come out. They may have another options for magazine. If they change that magazine right there to hold 2 more rounds, I don't even say 3. If they can change this magazine to hold 12 rounds, make it just a little bit wider or something, fit 2 more rounds in that magazine, I'd be happy. If they made this a 12 round to 13 round magazine comparison, there we're not talking a difference. But a 10 round to 13 round magazine, I just cannot in good conscience give up a 13 round magazine for a 10 round magazine going to a gun that I don't shoot as good as I do, you know, the gun with a 13 round magazine. So that's why. Higher capacity, and I shoot it better. Everything else out of the picture. We're not even talking about holsters, magazines, extra magazines, and all that. We're just talking about the guns themselves and how I shoot them. I'm going to have to say no. I cannot replace my XD with the Ruger. And that was a hard decision to make, folks. It was not easy because I do like that Ruger. And I will still conceal carry it sometimes. It is getting colder now, so it'll start cooling off a little bit. And I shouldn't say it's getting colder now. It's not. It will be getting colder soon, and I'll be able to fit this under a jacket. And I will actually carry this out of waistband under a jacket, and it'll be fun. I'm going to have a custom holster made for it. I've already talked to the guy who made my holster for this one about making me a holster for this one. He doesn't have a template, so I got to leave my gun with him. But so I haven't had it done yet because I wanted to do this first. But that's it. It's been Muzzle First. If you've got any questions, you can send me an email at muzzlefirst@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment below this video. Visit my website, www.muzzlefirst.com. Thank you, and you have a good day.